Well, hello there and welcome to Mind Your Business. I'm Jennifer Anderson, Executive Director of the Georgina Chamber of Commerce and host of the show. Well, I'm really excited about today's show, about speaking to my guests today. They're a lot of fun. Multi-generational businesses is the topic that we're talking about. And, you know, over the last couple of years, businesses in our community, some have struggled, some have flourished through this pandemic, but all have gone through changes. They've really had to navigate their way through the changes that have happened over the last few months and years. But what about businesses that have really stood the test of time, that have gone through decades of changes and recreation? There's businesses in our community that have been around for 43, 50, 104 years. And we're talking to them today. Very excited because they really are pillars in the business community in the town of Georgina. They're respected and admired, and I'm thrilled to have them on the show. Let me introduce my guest to you now. Anna Buckner is the marketing manager of Buckner Manufacturing. Hi, Anna.
Hi, Jen. Thanks so much for having us on today. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for being here. I'm excited to talk to you a little bit about Buckner Manufacturing and what's been happening over the last 43 years. Dave Weller is also joining us. Dave is the CEO and part owner of Weller Tree Service. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Jen. It's nice to see you outside of an arena.
Yes, it's nice to be here. It's nice, although it is nice to see people in person right now, but it's nice to have you on the show. And finally, Eric Brouwer is joining us as well. He is the general manager of Brouwer Kesmac. Hi, Eric.
Hi, Jen. Glad to join you in this, and respectively, I hope we have some fun at this.
Absolutely. Eric, I'm going to start with you. Want to know a little bit about your business. And, you know, as I said, you've just celebrated a big milestone, 50 years in 2022. So tell me a little bit about what Brouwer Kesmac is.
Brouwer Kesmac was developed after in our tendency on the sod farm to create new equipment, new affordable equipment for growers. We started in 1972 and started building a sod harvester. Obviously, in 50 years, a lot has changed. I believe the cost at that time was $8,000 or $9,000, and now we're exceeding towards the $500,000 mark. So, yeah, lots have changed. Technology has changed, but the actual core part of it hasn't. So the core part of it for us is the people. We always mention it many times over. We have a great, amazing team. And without it, the company would absolutely be nothing. So it goes down right from producing great equipment to actually the end results for the pleasant customer service. It's all done with people. So a lot has changed.
So you've mentioned some of the products and services, but let's talk a little more about that, because I'm sure part of that has evolved over the years. Certainly the price, the cost of doing business has evolved substantially, as you mentioned.
Yeah, it has. I mean, we opened up a line. We started with harvesters in the 70s and developed a more complete line for sod farmers globally. So right from automation now that we have now, I mean, comes to the fact we can actually dial into your machine. If you're in Australia or the Middle East, we can dial into your machine, do some updates for you, tweak it a bit for you, and never leave Keswick. So that's quite a development compared to the olden days where we're struggling back on the back of the harvester trying to pile sod. So lots have changed. We do aerators, we do rollers, we do mowers, vacuums. So we've broadened the lineup so that it's kind of a one-stop shop for sod farmers in the world, so to speak.
Well, and that has certainly, I would assume, helped over the last couple of years. If you're able to help or tweak machinery that's halfway around the world, especially during a pandemic, that has to be a valuable asset for your business.
Yeah, it's a tool, Jen. It's just a tool. But I mean, the pandemic has taught us a lot of things and maybe not taught us a lot of things. But for us, our business still is being on the farm with customers, servicing them in many different ways, whether it's buying new piece of equipment or servicing still has to be done out the farm. It really does.
Right. Right. And you mentioned that right off the top. You talked about your team, and you talked about, because I know that Brouwer is your family, but Brouwer Kesmac and that entire organization sounds like is your family as well.
It is. I mean, I think if I look at anybody that's in a family business, you spend more than 8 hours a day with that business. So it's no different in our businesses. We spend a great deal of time trying to nurture it, but it's also you become friends with that family. So not only do they take their commitments to heart, you get to do fun things with them as well.
Yeah. Let's talk about your journey with the organization. Where did you start? Born and raised with the business?
You know, Jenna, I never like to talk about myself. So we always talk about the team, but respectively, we all grew up on the sod farm. So we did, as normal people do, your hats are many different. So you get to experience many parts of the farm. Myself personally, I did landscaping, but I also, on the flip side of it, we were always as a family taught to learn outside the business. So I spent a few years that is, in the automotive business and the manufacturing side. So that gave me sort of a rounded approach to this business.
Yeah,
and to say one thing, not to cut you off there, is it really comes down to the people. It's not one individual. It's a team of, or a group that propel together to make something great.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I also know that, in order to lead, in order to be a part of that team, it's very helpful to have that experience or to have worked in those positions to be able to know all the different aspects of the business. So while I know you don't like to talk about yourself, I appreciate the fact that you did, because it really helps to kind of paint a picture of what your business is like and what you do for the business.
Yeah, like I said, I think that a leader, I read today, the leader is a person that provides an environment so that people can grow. And I think that's really the situation we have here. Like I say, we have a lot of different talented people. Every one of them brings something new to the table.
Yeah. How has the business changed over 50 years? It's a loaded question.
It's actually a pretty fair question. If I remember in the 70s, I mean, I was obviously not that old in the 70s, but I remember my father saying the sales gimmick, if you want to call it, was such, it was load the truck up with equipment and don't ever come back until it's empty. So that was your marketing and promotion. So now today it's much more complex with different social media platforms. One could argue, do you need to be involved in them? We felt as a business in the last few years that we needed to be part of that. We have a new generation of people involved in businesses. They're much more savvy. So we use all this social media platforms we can accurately sort of generate interest on. But so that goes without saying, but then there's still the demos, whether it's in a show environment or in a personal engagement with the farm, that's still present. So the tools are much more evolved and much more complex just to make the sale.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would assume, and I think you've already answered this, but what has remained consistent over the years, it sounds to me, is that loyalty, is that customer care and the level of care that you're providing to your customers.
Yeah, I think that hasn't changed. I would think businesses that have recognized that are successful, recognize that the customer is number one, whether it's based on service or based on, great equipment. It's an evolution of many different things, but the actual core values of the business, whether it's quality of equipment, as you mentioned, customer care, that's consistent. And I think it doesn't matter how long, another 50 years, I think that probably that matrix is the same.
Yeah. One last quick question for you. Celebrating 50 years this year is a big milestone. Any celebrations coming up? I know you've probably put some off because of current protocols, but anything we can expect?
Yeah, it's quite an endeavor. Obviously, 50 years. for us.
I'm looking for cake, Eric. Is there any cake that's coming up?
There's always cake for you, Jen. Always cake, right? 50 candles to blow out, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's from a serious side. We looked at a different approach with the pandemic. We never knew, what was going to give in the next week or so. So we decided that we wanted to make it a sort of a yearly event and do little things along down the way. So we attended a show recently for the first time in a couple of years. So it again, you look at it all and you say it's very cautiously. We try to celebrate and try to engage in activities pre-pandemic, but it's over the time. I'm sure we're going to have lots of time to celebrate our 50 years.
Amazing, Eric. Thank you so much.
It's been great. It's been great. I appreciate explaining our business to your audience. It's always nice that they understand what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I'm going to bring Anna into the conversation now. Anna, let's talk a little bit about Buckner Manufacturing.
Hi, Jen. So Buckner Manufacturing is a family-owned and operated exterior building supplier and manufacturer. So pretty much everything that you would need for the exterior of the house, we either manufacture it or we supply it from one of our vendors. There are 3 generations currently working in the business. I'm of the 3rd generation. And we have 2 manufacturing plants, one in Newmarket, one in Pepperlaw, and 5 retail locations across Ontario.
And each of those locations are providing products and services.
Correct, yes. So all of those are full one-stop shop areas that you can go in as a homeowner or as a contractor to get your exterior building supplies.
Amazing. Amazing. And I am quite certain that you have seen over the last couple of years a lot of changes to the business. How has COVID affected Buckner Manufacturing?
So COVID really did shake us at first, like I think it did with most of our businesses, especially that we were a manufacturer. It was really important to us to make sure that we kept our population safe, because if it got in there and ran through the plant, like that could be devastating. And thankfully, we were considered an essential business at the start of the pandemic. So we've been able to keep on running, keep on motoring. At our store level, we had to really pivot and learn, okay, how do we develop a curbside pickup model? We really pride ourselves in having great customer service. So how can we translate that from our normal everyday operations to a new form that we've never done before? As well, making sure we had all the protocols in place to keep not only our staff, but also customers safe as well. And we kept them in place the entire pandemic. Sometimes it meant we preemptively went to curbside pickup, even though we didn't have to, just because we really care about the safety of our people, not just us working at the business, but those coming through our doors. And so the more that we can keep everyone safe, for us, that was our #1 goal.
Well, and certainly when you have so many different locations across the province too, when you're dealing with like a location in Pefferlaw and Newmarket, there's not too many changes because York Region had the same protocols, but then you have somewhere else up north that maybe didn't have the same colors or codes or, the different steps that we were going through in York Region. So you really had to kind of navigate each individual location, I'm assuming.
Yeah, absolutely. When we were in that framework where we had the different colors and stages of opening, as you said, York Region, it stayed closed most of the time, but Kingston opened up or North Bay opened up at different times, same with Owen Sound. And so we really trusted our team, empowered our team. So, you open up when you feel safe. If you feel that your community is safe enough to do so, if you feel that you'd rather stay curbside only, we trust you to do that. And we, on all of our locations, had full protocols, whether it was curbside or if they're open, to keep everyone safe. And sometimes it was a bit of a juggling act and a bit of a dance, but we all just rolled with the punches. I think pretty much every business during COVID learned to really pivot, and we just took that to heart and made sure that when things changed on a dime, we learned to change with it.
Right. Let's talk about your journey. We were talking before the show, born and raised in Pefferlaw, maybe born and raised in the actual business in Pefferlaw. Is that the case for you?
So yeah, I was born and raised in Pefferlaw. I have many pictures from when I was a kid with my dad at our Pefferlaw location. We just was a little sprout walking around after hours. So very much born and bred within the company and within Georgina as a whole. I knew that I wanted to be in business in some regard. Like I'd spent my summers working at Buckner Manufacturing, and knew that when I went off to school, I wanted to be in business, but I originally wanted to be a corporate lawyer. It wasn't until I was at school that I fell in love with marketing, had a few marketing internships along the way, and knew that, okay, marketing is where I want to be. But I decided that I wasn't going to come back to the family business once I graduated. I took a couple family business courses, and pretty much most experts recommend that when you are the third generation and beyond, to go get that outside experience and work somewhere else so that you can come back a fully rounded individual. And I did that. So for 8 years, I worked actually in software marketing. And then in 2020, John, who's our general manager and my father, approached me wondering if he felt it was time that I wanted to come back. And at that time, I was looking to change positions and move up into more of a marketing manager or a director of marketing role. And so it just seemed like a really great fit for me to come back to the family business. And I've been here ever since.
And what a time to come back.
Yeah, nothing like a change in a pandemic, like big life changes. Why not?
Yeah. You were able to, a few years ago, we were at the 40th anniversary. And so a few more years under your belt since then, but you were able to celebrate. What happens next for Buckner Manufacturing?
Well, there's actually been a couple of great changes that have just recently happened, and we're looking to happen in the next little bit. First, we actually unveiled a new logo and a new visual identity for Buckner Manufacturing last week. And so that's now being displayed across the board. We're changing our signage, getting all that nice stuff up and running so that we have a new look heading into the next 43 years. As well, our Pepperlaw location actually has been undergoing some major renovations. We've completely gutted the office and the showroom to make it much more friendly and inviting for homeowners so that people can really see what products we carry and help them visualize what's going to be on their house. So we'll be having our grand reopening May 5th. So everyone is welcome to join in the community. We'll have a lot of show day deals, as well as show week deals and other fun stuff, draws, giveaways, and all that. So we'd love to see you come see our new place. And even if you don't need anything currently for your exterior, still come on by. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing cake again.
Yes, there will be cake and or donuts. It's the last thing I do. I luckily marketing have a little bit of control over that. So there will be some good food for us.
Amazing. Thank you, Anna, for joining us today.
You're most welcome. Thanks.
And now let's turn to Dave. Let's talk a little bit about Weller Tree Service. Dave, thanks for joining us. Now you are, I know you are third generation, but 4 generations now. No,
I'm the fourth.
You're
fourth. My son and Rob's son and Mike's son are the fifth.
Wow. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Weller Tree Service. 104 years.
Yep. December will be 105. It's grown significantly in those 105 years. We do everything forestry related, mostly municipal work. We outgrew our new place. We moved to our new location last year and a half ago, I guess, out in Baldwin Side Road.
Yes.
Which was really, really nice. Yeah.
So your website talks a little bit about, because I know it has the history and I love the pictures. You know, you can see the history with some of the pictures that you have posted on the website, but it talks about the last 10 years having grown substantially. So what's kind of happened in those last 10 years that makes, that has taken you to the next level? Well, the last 10 years, there's been a whole bunch of tree diseases come. First, it was Asian longhorn beetle, and then it was emerald ash borer. Because of that, we had to significantly grow because the amount of work and trees that were out there. So I would say about 15 years ago, we went from about 60 personnel to now we got around 110 to 120 family members that work for us constantly. And much like Eric, I think most of those people is our family. Like, we're a family-run business, always have been. And the people that we employ are, I would say, 60% from Georgina. So to me, they are family.
and it's been really great growing that big, but with that comes a lot of headaches and logistic issues doing it. One being why we had to move from our old home on Circle Ridge Drive that has so much history there to we needed the space to move out to Baldwin Side Road.
Yeah, and it's certainly, I would assume, as you grow as a business, but also as you grow with staff, that now it becomes more operational,
Right.
where it's, not just out and doing the work, but it's that operational structure that also you have to build within the office.
A lot of people laugh because I have a couch in my office, but like I say to all my staff, especially with COVID and everything that's gone on, and all the new protocols and everything that we had to put, there's been a lot of mental health people have gone through, and like I say to everybody, I'd sooner you come sit on that couch and yell at me for 20 minutes if it's work related than go home and be mad, because I want everybody to come back healthy, both with mind and and sound like come back and enjoy work.
Absolutely. You've talked a little bit about the services. I know you said everything to do with trees and tree cutting. Tell me some of those examples. What are the types of things that you're doing on a daily basis?
We do removals, we do tree planting, we do tree pruning, we do health inspections, we do stumping, storm response, all that. Like I said, about 85% of our business is municipal. So we look after pretty well every major municipality from Brampton out to Oshawa, Kawartha Lakes, all the way to Midland. City, hydro work, we pretty well do it all. A big thing we do in the winter is Christmas trees, the big Christmas trees that we put up throughout Toronto, like the 50, 60 footers. We've done that for the last 64 years. We've done the big Christmas tree at Nathan Phillips Square, which is, my family takes pretty good pride in that. My Uncle Neil and my cousin Rob have done a real good job the last 40, 50 years doing that. Yeah. And now that my uncle's retired, my cousin Rob's took that over, and he's done a fantastic job sourcing those trees. We do about 8 or 9 trees between 40 and 55 to 60 feet tall every year.
Yeah, and you say it kind of nonchalantly that we provide the trees, but having a 50 or 60 foot tree brought into the middle of Toronto can't be an easy feat.
No, it's a logistic nightmare, and it's a lot of driving around at nighttime when nobody's on the roads. Yeah. But like I said, my cousin Rob has done it the last few years without his dad, and he's done a fantastic job doing it. But it takes my brother and my sister, Mike and Crystal, to help out too. My sister arranges all the orders for the Christmas trees. Mike makes sure all the trucks are going and everything we need to do it. Like we have over 100 pieces of machinery that Mike has to look after himself, him and Rob helping him. So the logistics is, it can be a bit of a nightmare. Yeah. But especially with parts shortages, equipment shortages everywhere, it's a little bit trying right at the moment to get stuff done. Yeah, a bit of a learning curve that nobody expected to have to go through. Wholeheartedly, and that's why I said it. I find with the staff, if you keep them happy and wanting to come to work and keeping their mind off of it, it helps everybody with their mental well-being. Yeah. What have been some of the biggest changes over the last 104 years? Definitely with the machinery. Back when my great-great-grandfather was doing it, it was all done by climbing and ropes and not much more. A lot of back labor. Now they make machinery pretty well for anything. We have machineries that can go, bucket trucks that will go through a 32-inch gate. We have cranes that have 150, 160 feet of boom in them. Back then, in the early 50s and 60s, they had winch trucks that had I think it was 18-foot boom on them. That's what they used to pick the trees down with. Now we just have way more machinery. It makes life a lot easier. Yeah, and I would think that will just only continue.
right?
Oh,
as technology advances, as everything advances, that will be an asset to you.
Oh, for sure. And we sit on a lot of committees that help design and bring that forward in our industry. So one being the Arborist Safe Work Practice Committee that is near and dear to our heart. Is we've been on that committee for a lot of years that kind of guides this industry. So it's something that we're very, very proud of.
Yeah. And I think you should be proud. I know, your website does mention all of the different committees and the organizations that you work with and sit on. Yeah. So you really are a voice for this sector and our community and beyond.
Like I said, this community's been home for like 5 generations of us, and couldn't be prouder to be part of this community.
Yeah. Yeah. One last question for you. And I know, it's something that Eric talked about and Anna talked about, and you've talked about it as well. It's that not only the appreciation of customers and local and dealing with, the quality of care and the level of service, but also that family that works with you. And is that something that has remained consistent over the years, or something that really has been drilled and driven home to the next generation, that is what Weller Tree Service is all about?
Oh, for sure. You never forget your roots. Like economically, if we wanted it this way, it'd be cheaper for us always to have moved our business to where most of our clients are in the South. But to do that, you'd be taking part of us away. And like I said, this community means so much. I know to my father and my uncles and everything, and even my grandfathers, that we don't ever want to leave here. This is home, and we love being able to give the residents of Georgina somewhere to work if they want. And not just for our generation, but now I have a lot of my son's friends wanting jobs coming, and like Brock, my brother's my nephew, he's doing co-op in the shop. My cousin Rob's son, co-op in the shop. We get a lot of more kids coming wanting to do co-ops here, and that want to stay. And you know what? With the price of fuel, the price of everything in the world, if you could work in your community, why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
and
I love that.
I'm so happy that we were able to do that, and hopefully for another 100 years we can continue to do that.
Yeah. Thank you, Dave. That's the perfect way to end the show. Thank you for being on the show with us. Thank you to all of my guests today. For more information on the show, rogerstv.com, or you can head to the Rogers TV YouTube channel, where previous episodes are listed by topic, so you can take a look at that. On behalf of everyone at Rogers TV and the Georgina Chamber of Commerce, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on Mind Your Business.